Got him!
Welcome to Fish North Georgia's The Guide. Here's Andy Middleton.
Hey guys, this is Andy Middleton with The Guide. I want to do a trip report from a tournament I fished out of my kayak on Saturday at Brushy Branch, which is, if you don't know, that's a backwater of the Coosa River, kind of the headwaters area of Lake Weiss, but on the Georgia side. It's near Cave Spring. Tournament was June the 6th, last Saturday, and we launched at 6 a.m. and fished until 3. This was with the Real Crazy Kayak Fishing Group out of Rome, and it was a pretty good event. We had 32 anglers there. I finished in 8th spot out of that 32, just outside the money. I was inch and a half short of the money. Of course, in kayak tournaments, we score our fish by length instead of weight and just throw them back after we take a picture of them and put them on our measuring boards. So, yeah, I was inch and a half out. Caught 10 bass over the course of the day. Just didn't quite find the kicker fish that I needed to vault me into the top 5 to get a check or to get paid that day. But anyway, I want to let you guys know how I did and how I caught my fish and the pattern that I kind of ran. At first, I didn't think there was a pattern. I thought I was just junk fishing, but when I looked back at it, I realized that I was finding all my fish in rocky areas rather than just trying to fish all the blowdowns and the brush and the docks that you find in there. There's so much wood cover in that area, it's almost overwhelming, and you can't fish it all in a day. But there's certain rocky areas. There's some riprap there along the bridge, and then around the ramp there's some rocks, and then there's a few rocky banks. There's some bluff walls with a little more rock than normal. A lot of it's just red clay and mud, but I was able to find fish mostly around the rocks. I started out in the morning throwing a toad style bait around some of the emergent willow grass along the bank, and I didn't get any bites doing that. Next thing I did was throw a spinnerbait along the riprap at the bridge, and I did get one good bite on it. Actually pull a blade off one of my spinnerbaits and tied another one on and caught a small fish on it. I would end up culling out later in the day. But this is a custom spinnerbait that I designed myself. It's a Nichols lures bait. It's just a single Colorado. It's got a brown head and a black skirt, and I tipped it with a Zoom Fat Albert in chartreuse pepper. I've had some luck there with this spinnerbait before. So I tied it on. I threw it for probably an hour or two along that riprap and missed a couple and caught that one, and then had that one really good bite that apparently the fish just got the blade instead of actually getting the bulk of the bait and getting the hook in its mouth, so I missed it. I threw a fluke a little bit too. I got one bite on it, but I wasn't getting a whole lot on moving baits up in the water column, so my 1-2 punch for the rest of the day was a jig and a shaky head. The better fish I caught on the jig, it's a 1/2 ounce Kitech, just a black Kitech tungsten head flipping jig with a Gary Yamamoto twin tail and green pumpkin as the trailer. I was throwing that on the Mojo Bass Dock Sniper from St. Croix. That's a 7-foot heavy power fast action. I believe that's fast. Yeah, fast action rod. I just got it last week from the dugout, and I think I might actually get another one next time I decide to buy a rod, because it's pretty good to if you want to throw a frog or a toad or something on a short rod. It's really good for that too, especially if you're trying to walk it like you would on a spro frog or a popping frog or something. The shorter rods for me make it a little bit easier, especially fishing out of a kayak. So that was the jig setup, and And I had that on, I actually had that on 50-pound braid with a fluorocarbon leader on, 15-pound fluorocarbon leader on it. This is my shaky head setup. It's just a 1/4 ounce green pumpkin shaky head, 3/0 hook, and a Zoom trick worm. Pretty standard confidence bait there. That was on 30-pound test braid to a 12-pound Invisex leader. If you haven't paid attention on Invisex versus some of the other fluorocarbons out there, the 12-pound Cigar Invisex is actually the same diameter as a 10-pound in P-line and some of the other fluorocarbons out there. So when you look at your labels on your fluorocarbon, don't just look at the pound test. Look at the line diameter too. And sometimes you'll be surprised that you know, 1 pound rating can be the same diameter as a different pound rating in a different brand. So anyway, that's my report from Brushy Branch. As far as the water itself, it was stained. It kind of fishes like almost like 3 different fisheries. You've got the main part that's sort of like a lake right where you put in where the ramp is. It's pretty wide and it leads out into the Coosa River at the mouth of it. So the Coosa River is another kind of like a separate fishery. And then you got Big Cedar Creek that flows in right there as well. In the main part of the lake, the water temperature was got up to around 81 degrees. And when you went back into Big Cedar, it was 76. And I actually had some friends that went way, way further back into Big Cedar and found 73-degree water and did pretty well back there. I didn't go that far. I went maybe a mile up the creek and didn't do too well in it. I caught 1 fish up there. And so I focused on that main lake part of it. It's really just a cove, but in that little area, I would call it the main lake. So I stayed out there. I went all the way to the mouth of it, right on the last point before it ends up in the Coosa. I had a couple of bites pretty far out there because there's some rock out that way as well. So that was pretty much the deal, just finding the rock and slowing it down. It was a full moon the night before, so they probably had a busy night feeding, and once the sun got up, they were maybe just a little bit more lethargic. That's the only thing I could figure out why they wanted something just work so slowly along the bottom. Yeah, steep rocky banks, rocky points, drop-offs, anything like that was my pattern for the day. So until next time, tune in for another report. Thank you to Jasper Jeep. Thank you to the Dugout, St. Croix Rods, AFCO, and Hobie Fishing. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Thanks for watching The Guide here at Fish North Georgia. Our mission is to build a community of anglers to give you the best and latest information to make your day on the water more successful. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, click the bell so you'll be notified of any future content. Make sure you check us out at fishnorthgeorgia.com, where we carry a large variety of bait manufacturers from here in the North Georgia area. So we appreciate you being part of our community, and we'll see you soon.